Hey everyone, me Kevin here with breaking news after Trump's sudden and unexpected press conference from his New Jersey golf course and a huge change from Democrats per Nancy Pelosi as well. First, remember the pre-sale for the YouTube course is coming to an end. Use that code down below so you too can learn how to make money from home. All right, let's get into it. Negotiations ended this week nowhere. They've almost completely fallen apart. And Nancy Pelosi had a big shift, at least that she announced. She said that she's willing to cut the HEROES Act $1 trillion if Republicans come up $1 trillion and meet in the middle. Remember what this means. Republicans want $1 trillion. Democrats want $3 trillion. Nancy Pelosi is saying, let's meet in the middle at $2 trillion. Republicans say no, says Nancy Pelosi. Then Donald Trump just held his press conference. Donald Trump says that Democrats are insisting on radical left-wing policies that have nothing to do with the virus, and that this is delaying stimulus checks, the unemployment extension, and the eviction ban. He says, quote, if Democrats continue to hold this relief hostage, I will act under my authority. Here's what we're thinking. That's what he said. Number one, defer the payroll tax through the end of the year and hopefully extend it if I'm still in office. It'll be retroactive to July 1st. All right, this is big. Hold on. Here's how we break this down. If you made $5,000 in July, you would get a refund of about $375. We're not exactly sure how you would get a refund. When you file your taxes, are you going to get a check? How's that going to work? Nobody knows. Obviously, this only applies if you actually had earnings in July and paid payroll taxes. So that means you have to be on a W-2 probably. If you're self-employed, you probably haven't paid your self-employment taxes yet, so you would be able to keep more in your money when you go pay your quarterlies or file. Now, this, again, it helps people who are employed but not unemployed, or if you're disabled or you're on retirement, this doesn't help you. To calculate this tax benefit, just multiply your earnings in July by 7.5%, and then going forward from when this passes, it's going to be retroactive through July 1st, and going forward, just multiply whatever figure by 7.5%. So if you made $1,000 in July, you're going to make $1,000 in August. You'd save about $75 in July and about $75 in August. And you should get that refund somehow from July. We're not exactly sure if we're going to get the entire 7.65% benefit. It could be anywhere between 6% to 7.65%. White House staffers have been using 7.5% as a reference point. And that's because there are two parts to this payroll tax and it gets complicated. It's like 6.2 and 1.45. Don't worry about all that stuff. Let's get the details when they come. So again, if you made $5,000 in July, you'd get a refund of $375 somehow. Not sure how that would come. If you made $2,000 in July, you'd get $150 back. Okay, Trump, and this would continue through the end of the year. Trump then says he wants to extend unemployment through the end of the year. He did not say how much he would extend it. He just says extend enhanced unemployment through the end of the year. Well, right now we only have the $600 program. So if he's talking about extending the enhanced unemployment boost, is he talking about that $600 or is he talking about a Republican number? We don't have the answer to that. On student loans, Trump wants to defer student loan payments until further notice. And I'm assuming when he says student loans, he's referring to federal student loans because a lot of those payments have already been suspended through September. And those would be suspended until further notice, presumably the end of the year, potentially longer. He then said he would also extend the eviction moratorium. He did not say how long he would extend it. Now, this executive order has not been made yet. This is just sort of a press conference that is publicizing this information. We do not yet have all of the details because this executive order does not exist yet. This is just what's being floated by Trump and his team. Trump also says that in 80% of the United States, we're having declining cases of COVID. Which reminds me, another YouTuber this morning mentioned that COVID cases were on an uptrend. And I think they're referring to other parts of the world, which is entirely possible. There are some countries with an uptrend. But over here in the United States, we're actually, in my opinion, seeing a bit of a downtrend. Especially if you go into Google, you type in coronavirus cases, and you see the United States map. Yeah, we went up, but we're now on that sort of downslope of that. I really hope for all of our sakes that we continue down that downslope. I want to be over this. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of wearing a mask. By the way, here's that downtrend that I'm talking about. Obviously, if we chart from the beginning of the pandemic, yeah, there's an uptrend overall, right? But I think right now we're all looking for that inflection point, and right now that inflection point is a downtrend. In my opinion, if this was the stock market, we would call this a downtrend, not an uptrend. But I guess it doesn't matter. The point is cases are overall declining, and hopefully it stays that way. Part of that has to do with the mask mandates that we're starting to see throughout the country. At least that's what some scientists and doctors think. Which, by the way, this is what the Trump press conference looked like. You can notice here you've got a lot of families, and there was a lot of flack about this because there are not a lot of people wearing masks. In fact, there were people on Twitter, reporters and that, commenting that 4 to 5 people had masks, and that was it. Because of that pressure from the media, this was the next photo that was taken shortly thereafter. And you see a lot of these blue masks here. Those were all handed out, and now you've got almost everybody with a mask, maybe 2 or 3 people without a mask. Quick note, one of the reporters actually challenged the entire room. This was so awkward. Towards the end of the press conference and questions, one of the reporters said, well, I mean, you know, we had a lot of deaths this week. We had almost over 6,000 deaths this week. How are we having this pandemic under control, Mr. Trump? Even in this room, there are people who are not following the New Jersey public health guidelines. And the entire crowd in that room, which remember, this is Donald Trump's golf course, the entire crowd in that room booed that reporter hardcore. And then Donald Trump actually called this a peaceful protest. And as soon as he said that people not wearing masks or not necessarily following the social distancing guidelines were considered a peaceful protest, the entire crowd erupted in claps and cheers. And then Donald Trump said, but to me, it looks like they're all wearing masks. Looks like you're fake news, or they know you're fake news, or they know the news is fake. That was the line. They know the news is fake. Wow. Okay. We also had one of the questions asked, what about the money? Where does the money come from? And Donald Trump said, don't worry, we have the money. And one of the reporters bluntly asked, how much is the extended unemployment going to be? And Donald Trump said, we are not prepared to say that yet. Trump also stated, quote, the pandemic is disappearing and it's going to disappear. He also said the economy is vital to public health. Listen to that. The economy is vital to public health. Now, some of us might initially think, wait, isn't that backwards? Isn't public health vital to the economy? But I think what Donald Trump is referring to, and he did not mention this, but I think what he's referring to is he's saying when people are stuck at home and they're worried about things and this pandemic, there's more depression than when you have normalcy, which is a matter of public health. Donald Trump then went on to say that 3 vaccine candidates are currently in phase 3 trials. This is record speed. We've tested more than 85 million people. This is China's fault. Get Kevin's YouTube course. And this was actually really interesting. He says they're doing a big push to try to get more and more 5 to 15 minute test machines and kits out across the country. This would be great because honestly, like, look, if could you imagine this? You go to, let's say, a bar, and at the bar, you get tested before you go in the bar. You get tested, you wait 10 to 15 minutes outside. If you're clear, you go inside. Like, that would be so great for opening the economy again. But to have to stand in line for 4 hours to get tested, to get your test results in a week, it's dumb. So I think Donald Trump actually has a very good point here, and I'm not taking political sides, but it is true. If we could do on-the-fly testing before people get on planes, before people go into crowded spaces, that would be very, very, very good. It's just not widely available yet, and I imagine the tests are somewhat on the pricey side. There you have it. Remember to get that YouTube course. Use the pre-sale coupon code Larry. It comes out so soon. It's almost done as well, and I can't wait to share it with all of you. Thank you so much for watching, and folks, we will see you in the next video.